What's up, everybody? Welcome back in. We are taking a look at the Brian Kohberger case again as the victims speak with Court TV. And there's not a ton that's come out about this case recently. It's been a little quieter. It was fast and furious for a while. We've got a trial date. Things are happening. The lawyers are working. I'm sure statements are being taken, depositions are being taken, exhibits are being processed, discovery is being exchanged. But what does a victim's family go through? What do they think about? How do they feel when this process is continually extended? Is it delayed justice, meaning no justice at all? Do they understand how the process works? Because the wheels of justice sometimes turn so slow in America. We get to hear what they have to say in a short interview today. So make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you throw your questions in the comments that you have about this interview and anything that you have questions about in this case, so I can try to get to them in the comment section or in a following video. And make sure you subscribe to our page. Let's get to it. All right, so they did the little intro about the case, gave background. Most of you guys know about it. 4 students' lives were taken at the University of Idaho. Brian Kohberger is the defendant that has been accused. He is presumed innocent. They are going forward on his case right now. The victim's parents, the Goncalves family, has been very vocal. They've been at the front of the line, making sure to keep the pressure on, keep the media involved, to understand that we need justice in this case. They made sure the investigation wasn't delayed. They made sure they crossed all their T's, dot all their I's, and they've kept the pressure on. And they really have not held back on any of their comments about how they feel the investigation's going, the prosecution's going, things like that. So I have not listened to this interview yet. This will be the first time I'm listening to it with all of you who sent it to me. So let's take a listen and break down what they have to say.
Touched a lot of people. I wanted to show it to you one more time.
Maddie has truly been a blessing in our lives.
So these are other victims' parents' statements as well.
Watching her grow and mature into the amazing woman she became is truly priceless in our hearts. She was the world to us.
Kaylee is a huge part of our family. The dynamics of our family will never be the same. We know this is God's will. It's hard to accept. But she was a beautiful girl.
We're gonna miss her. We're gonna miss her more than anybody knows, and I know a lot of you people, the ones that know her, are gonna be right there with us. It's gonna be a tough road. That kid was she showed light to the day.
The world is a darker place without them, but the light of their love and memories will always guide us all. Thank you all for joining us in a celebration of life of these beautiful souls. We love you, Maddie, Kaylee, Santa, and Ethan.
It's amazingly tragic, obviously, but then the story in the case moves into our system of justice. And that brings me to our question, which is, it's a big one. What is justice here? What is justice for the families? Let me bring in our special guests, the mother and father of Kaylee Goncalves, Steve and Christy Goncalves, who are with us, as well as the attorney representing the family, Shannon Gray. Thank you all so much for being here. I know this is never easy, but I think the nation has seen the strength of your family, Christy and Steve. And as you sit here tonight, what is justice for you? What is justice?
That's a hard question that we thought a lot about. Sometimes I feel that there is no justice. Nothing's going to bring the kids back.
And that's kind of the delayed justice equals no justice. And honestly, as somebody who believes in our justice system, who thinks it's the best in the world, who fights for it, who loves justice, I completely 100% understand when victims feel this way. I work with victims every single day, some from criminal activity, some from just civil negligence, accidents, things like that, but still in a horrible spot. They did nothing wrong on their own, but they still find themselves in this situation, and the wheels of justice sometimes turn slow. So I understand when they feel like this delayed justice is no justice, so I can't blame them at all.
And therefore, the only thing that would be justice for me is for this person to be living in agony in the depths of hell.
I I know that there's a lot of families who don't actually get somebody that is actually charged for it. So I do feel that we are lucky in that standpoint. And a lot of detectives and investigators put in a lot of hard work, and we're lucky to have that, and we want to be appreciative for that. It's a long, slow process, but we're willing and we're ready to do that. We're ready to put in the time and the effort and get through this, and just show people that this is the way that we can see justice in action, see the truth being taken in place, and then the right outcome, and society gets back to normal.
Shannon, this is a difficult journey.
So again, so you see kind of the difference in how they explain it and how they feel. And it feels like Mr. Goncalves is like, listen, some families don't even get anybody charged. And I can't imagine what that feels like with how we're feeling right now, with the unknown, with the delays, with the lack of justice feeling for ourselves. But let's keep our eye on the prize. Let's move forward. And although it's not going to bring her back, let's go forward. Let's prove the case. Let's convict the guy we believe did it. And then we can try to live our lives as normal as possible. But at least we get all that can possibly be provided by the criminal justice system, right? In our society and where we live, this is the best we get. It's not perfect. No one will ever claim it's perfect. But we've got to move forward and make sure we get this justice that our daughter deserves.
An absolutely difficult journey. That's why I'm so glad that you are there to help this family through this. What is your take so far on how our system of justice is doing in this case?
It's a tough question because, it's a small jurisdiction. I work in a much larger jurisdiction where things move a lot faster. You think things are going to move a certain way, and sometimes they don't.
It's wild to me that he thinks that this is moving abnormally slow. It's about moving as expected, I would say. If it gets pushed any further, then it gets on the slow side. But if it would have been tried in the first year, that would have been lightning speed. So I'm interested how fast he thought it was going to go. None of this is really that surprising from my perspective, but I'm in Florida, right? So maybe things do move a little quicker in Idaho. It's not quite as, there's not as many lawsuits as there are in Florida. That's for sure.
So it's been difficult for the family because a lot of times I'll say this is how A, B, and C should happen, and they don't happen that way. I have to explain why it didn't happen, and why it's taken so long, or it's taken longer than usual, or why the prosecution or the defense have done things that they've done. But I'm small compared to what Steve and Christy go through every day. I'm just thankful that they found me, that I can help them and answer any questions I can about them, and ease their minds when their minds need to be eased about the criminal justice process and what's going on. I mean, they're always going to be a part of my life, and I love them to death. So,
Christy, what are
also not unusual to build relationships with your clients when you're dealing with such serious situations and they're going through some things. A lot of my clients I still stay in contact with, talk about, ask how they're doing, especially the ones that want to reach out to me. Sometimes we don't, because if it was really traumatic, I can remind them of the traumatic event that occurred and that happened to them. So, it's kind of always delicate, and you got to make sure it's appropriate and professional, but also when you have empathy and sympathy for your clients, a lot of times that's how it can present itself, exactly how he's explaining.
What are the plans for the trial when it happens?
Well, we'll know more at the end of this month when the change of venue is heard and is decided. We plan on being there. We want to be there.
It was funny because when he said, I work in a bigger jurisdiction, I was like, oh, is he going to mention the change of venue, which they have filed that motion. It's basically everything we expected with their expert. We watched the hearings. We kind of knew what they were going to argue. When the judge decides on it, or we have a hearing where the judge says what his order is, or an order comes out, we will absolutely break it down. If you guys want to, let me know in the comments. We didn't get a lot of requests to break down the actual change of venue motion, so that's why we didn't. And again, we base all of our content on what you guys request and want to hear, watch, and see, and read.
There's about 10 of us in the family that intend on being there for most of it. Obviously, there's going to be days that we will not be there intentionally for, but we're hoping that it stays in Latah County. So, that's a 2-hour drive for us. The further counties that they're looking at would make it hard. So we would have to relook at things. But we want to be there.
And that's absolutely a consideration, right? The victims, their families, they have rights. Now they have to balance it, and driving further is not the same as, making a victim's family drive further or maybe miss a day of trial. While that's horrible and we don't want to do that, it doesn't quite rise to the level of, if we feel like this venue is not going to be fair to the defendant whose life and liberty are on the line, that will be of a higher importance, right? Even though both are considerations that need to be balanced. And if it's not, majorly unfair, if it's like, we don't think it's going to be unfair, and then you have to start balancing. If it's majorly unfair, then you have to, almost regardless of what the other issues are, not completely, but it's all a balancing act, a totality of the circumstances.
We tend to be there.
Steve, as you have been on this journey now, it seems like forever, I'm sure, for you. Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel? Do you see that, hey, at some point, this page will turn?
I think of it as this is a living example of how we get things right again. Latell County did everything. The reason this is so slow and this process is taking so long is because they tried to do everything exactly by the book so that the community.
Again, any compliments they make towards Latell County, the prosecutors, law enforcement, is important and is big because they have also been critical at certain stages. So I don't know if there's been more communication and collaboration between them, but that's a good sign.
Community could see the justice, they could see it, and it wouldn't have to be taken, Idaho's a large state, it wouldn't have to be taken, 6-7 hours away. So I look at this as a living example of the way we correct things. When things go wrong, when things fall off the rails, like you said, you send your kids off to college, the last thing you should think of is anything other than your kid being a dumb kid and doing something embarrassing to get them on a camera or something that you're going to see at your employer the next day. That's like really bad. And for murder, for death, that's just not, that can't be new normal. That can't be something that we accept as a society. So I think we can be a living example for everyone, how we can course correct and figure this thing out and hold somebody accountable and, show that this is just a one-off that, won't happen and it's not the new norm.
Christy, are there moments where you
I think
can?
that's a really thoughtful answer by him. And like, as someone who works in the justice system, I appreciate that. When people are able to see it, even though it's not perfect, it's not going exactly how they want, it's not over as quickly as they want. So I appreciate that.
And have happy memories? Are there moments where you can smile and think about Kaylee?
Oh, absolutely. You can't think about Kaylee and not smile, and we have so many happy memories and so many videos and so many pictures. And I look at them all the time. It's those late nights that get you, and you think of the tragedy that unfolded. And, it's terrorizing, it's traumatizing. But there are happy moments. There are.
Steve, if this gets the conclusion that we're all hoping for, which is the truth comes out and there's a conviction, are you prepared to make an impact statement?
Yeah, I just know my family. I know my kids. They're all strong. They're all intelligent, super smart. Every one of them has already wrote it out. They've already got set in stone. So yeah, we're willing to and just thank the community and thank all the people who've put their lives on pause so that we could have that moment, so we could have the justice, because it doesn't just happen by accident. And we've got people like Shannon in our life. It's amazing what we've been able to see, how people shown love to our family and reached out to us and flooded us with letters and different things. So yeah, I feel an obligation to all the people that have been with us this whole time. And that's why there's that sense of pressure that, that this has got to turn out a certain way. And we're looking forward to seeing that turn out.
And Shannon, do you expect any problems with all the victims that want to speak, being able to speak, if and when we get to that part of this case?
Yeah, that was an odd occurrence that happened over in the Lori Vallow trial where
So he's basically asking, do you think you're going to have a problem with the judge saying they're not technically victims, therefore they can't make victim impact statements? This is a judge by judge thing, how strict or lenient they are. Now he's saying, again, he said earlier, I've told him it should happen X, Y, and Z, and then it doesn't. Then I have to explain why it doesn't. And now again, he's saying this is how it should happen. And if it doesn't, he's going to have to explain why, if the rules technically say, only A, B, and C can testify. But he is right that normally it's a little looser than that for victim impact statements, if of course a conviction happens.
the judge was pretty, strict or adamant about following the statute when it came to who could speak and give
Those pesky rules.
victims impact statements. Most of the time, the immediate family and those things will be able to speak. You know, the judge may put down, you know, his foot when it comes to grandparents and other things that under the statute currently aren't maybe allowed unless they're serve as a representative for the family. But I'm hoping that the whole family's anybody gets to speak what they want to. There's a reasoning to it, but I don't see there being any problems in this case. So.
That's good to hear. Shannon Gray, thank you so much. Christy and Steve Goncalves, you know our thoughts are with you, and you know that the nation's thoughts are with you, and our best to all of your family. Thank you so much.
All right. So that's it. Again, no real surprise as far as the frustration with delayed justice there by Ms. Goncalves. Some thoughtful answers by Mr. Goncalves, but one of the most important things is they seem to be in a position where they're really going to fight change of venue because they'll have to drive further. They'll have to miss more days of trial. And that's going to absolutely have to be a consideration of the judge. That's going to be something the prosecutor's office is going to have to argue. So it does add some intrigue there of what's it going to happen. It's not going to be as simple as the defendant wants it and they're going to get it, right? The prosecutors are going to argue against this. We already knew they were going to on their behalf, but now once you insert the victims into it, I think the decision becomes a very difficult one for the judge. So what do you guys think? How does that affect your process? Where would you put it on the scale, trying to balance it versus the defendant's right to a fair trial? Any questions you have about change of venue, throw them in the comments. If we need to do a video on that, we'll do that as well. I appreciate you guys joining me. Hit that like button if you guys haven't already and subscribe to our channel. That's all we got. Till next time, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who may be interested here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And don't forget to check out the Lawyer You Know podcast with new seasons dropping every quarter. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us at lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. And of course, all these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, The Lawyer You Know.